And let's start with Italy. And the police have arrested 18 people, including a mayor, doctors, and social workers. No surprise to people of this show, I've been warning about those professions, for allegedly brainwashing vulnerable children into thinking their parents had abused them so that they could then be sold to foster parents. People have no idea the depth of this. They don't. Police in the northern city of Reggio Emilia made the arrest after an investigation started in 2018 revealed an alleged network of carers, use that word lightly, who used methods including electroshock to make the children believe they'd been sexually abused. The network then allegedly gave the children to foster families in exchange for cash, while keeping gifts and letters sent to the children by their real parents hidden in a warehouse that was discovered by the police. Now, the alleged abuse was reported by Italian media and confirmed by police in Bibbiano, which is near Reggio Emilia, last Thursday. Now, these accusations have confirmed, as the report says. You need to go deeper because there's a lot more. Are frightening and shocking, said the Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte. He needs to look into the Vatican. They're doing similar. And Mr. Conte was at the G20 meeting in Japan to brainwash the children. Those arrested allegedly forged childlike drawings with sexual connotations and used electroshock therapy, all very MK Ultra that, as a little memory machine to create fake abuse memories, while the therapists or the rapists are accused of dressing up as wicked children's story characters. Now, the probe was called Angels and Demons. Right. And revealed the scheme to pass off as a model welfare system for abused minors that was in reality an illegal business to the children's detriment. Now, the newspaper reported, according to investigators, the aim of the arrested group was to take children away from families in difficult social situations and to give them for money to other parents. This is going on in the UK. Social workers are being paid £20,000 to remove children from homes. That's why they all went private. And some of the foster parents have been accused of sexually abusing the children they paid money for. And the police declined to say how many children were involved or of what age. But they did say hundreds of thousands of euros were involved. Unbelievable. This next piece is part of the Facebook fact checker. That kind of, once you go below the surface, reveals more than they would like. But this one is the UK version of bullshit journalism, although the fact checker does reveal, as you'll see. But then they get pedantic with words, and their design to discount also reveals it to be true in another aspect. But they know people will not read the full article, only the headline, you see, and that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to get people to think different. Look at the full details, not the headline. The headline is often a distraction. Now, a post that was blocked by the Facebook Gestapo revealed the following. HEK 293 is not a flavouring and not directly made from aborted fetus cells. That was what the fact checker stated. And then he went on. HEK 293 is the name given to a specific line of cells used in various scientific applications. It is not in itself a flavouring, but one of its applications is to help mimic taste receptor cells in the development of new flavourings. That aside, the implication that these flavourings are made of human cells is misleading according to the report. But then it goes on. Those cells derived from human tissue may be involved in developing some flavourings. Those cells are not in the flavouring itself. You getting the picture now? The original cells were taken from the kidney of an aborted baby in 1973. Oops. HEK293 cells used nowadays are clones of the original cells, but are not themselves the cells of aborted babies. So the headline was, HEK293 is not using human cells for its flavouring, but it's just told you it is. Except now they clone it. Cenemex, a biotechnological company, has patents appearing to relate to using HEK293 cells in developing flavourings. And as they said, HEK293 is not in the flavouring itself. Now, when they were asked for comment, this is the fact checker who think they're discounting it, have actually proven it. They said when we asked them for comment, Campbell's, Kraft Heinz and Coca-Cola Company said they did not use products made by Cenemex. Campbell's and Kraft Heinz also confirmed they do not use any flavourings developed using HEK293 cells in any of their products. And Pepsi confirmed to us that they do collaborate with Cenemex on research, but that none of that research uses any human tissue or cell lines derived from embryos or fetuses. Predictably, Nestle did not respond to the questions. So there you have it. They're stating it's not in the flavouring, but if you read far enough down, which is what they know the majority won't, they will look at the headline. It tells you the original cells were taken from the kidney of an aborted baby in 1973. That's 46 years ago. And then said HEK293 cells used nowadays are clones of the original cells. So they confirmed it, and they also confirmed in their own stupidity of trying to knock that information off that cloning is real and has been going on a long time. That's what happens when you read beyond the headline. You understand it a lot more. It's all there, they do tell you. It's just that too many just scratch the surface. Israel and Israel and the United States have signed a new bilateral cybersecurity partnership agreement this week. Mr. Nutty Arsehole and Donald Trump, Homeland Security Advisor Thomas Bossert, signed the agreement on Monday following a meeting that also included White House Cybersecurity Advisor Rob Joyce. Bossert is in Israel for the annual Cyber Week, which is held at Tel Aviv University, and under the agreement the countries will establish joint working groups on international cyber policy, infrastructure defence, research and development, and human capital development, whatever that means. Maybe it's linked to the last piece, who knows. Netanyahu and Trump had discussed cybersecurity issues when they met last month in Jerusalem, and Bossert told the conference in a speech Monday evening that the partnership is aimed at stopping adversaries in networks and identifying ways to hold bad actors responsible. What about Netanyahu? Nutty also spoke at the conference. We are experiencing every month dozens of cyber attacks on the national level, and at any given moment, including right now, there are probably 3 to 5 attacks on the national level that emanate from various sources. Not good. Police firing tear gas this week have evicted protesters who stormed and ransacked Hong Kong's parliament this week, and activists had occupied the Legislative Council building for hours after breaking away from the protest on the anniversary of Hong Kong's transfer of sovereignty to China from Britain. Now, hundreds of police secured the building following a warning to protesters to clear it, and it follows weeks of unrest in the city over the controversial extradition law. Now, hundreds of thousands took part in the earlier protest and the latest rally against a proposed law that critics fear could be used to extradite political dissidents to mainland China. And Hong Kong's embattled political leader Carrie Lam had to hold a press conference in which she condemned the extreme use of violence of those who broke into the building. You know, was that paid actors breaking into the building to turn the public against them? Of course, they broad sweep one or two causing issues, and then the whole protest movement, or people are all violent, or this and all of that. That's how they do it. Now, once inside, the alleged protesters they stated they defaced the emblem of Hong Kong in the central chamber and raised the old British colonial flag. All sounds very Dragon Stage to me. Spray painted messages across the wall and shattered furniture. Then at about midnight, outside the building, protesters clad in plastic helmets and brandishing umbrellas retreated from a baton charge by riot police, who quickly overcame their makeshift barriers. And now inside, die-hard protesters were pulled forcibly outside by their fellow occupants in an attempt to completely clear the building. Now, the Democratic lawmakers Ted Hui and Roy Kwong stood in front of police, asking them to allow demonstrators time to leave the area, and the area was cleared within the hour. That sounds iffy to me. And here's another one. Facebook Inc. evacuated 4 buildings and 2 people were being evaluated for possible exposure to the nerve agent sarin on Monday after a package at the social media's company Silicon Valley mail facility apparently tested positive for the toxic compound. Now, the people who came into contact with the suspicious package about 11 a.m. that morning did not show any symptoms of exposure to sarin, according to John Johnson, who's a fire marshal for the city of Menlo Park, where Facebook is based. Now, the facility tests all of the packages that come in, and they found a positive test, so they just initiated their standard protocol. Now they're just waiting to verify whether that's true or not, according to the fire marshal. It all appears very staged and Wilcock-esque to me, that story. Look at us poor Facebook people, we're being targeted by the nasty alt media people. It's time these people changed the script. People are just not buying it anymore. But it's another example of the desperation they're going to garner sympathy or get people onto their side, because they're losing badly. Next is Boeing and the 737 MAX crisis, and the hows and whys of that has become a major issue now, and how a company which was renowned for its meticulous design made seemingly basic software mistakes leading to a pair of deadly crashes. Now, long-time Boeing engineers say the effort was complicated by a push to outsource work to lower-paid contractors, and the MAX software, which has been plagued by issues that could keep the planes grounded months longer after US regulators this week revealed there was a new flaw, and was developed at a time Boeing was laying off experienced engineers and pressing suppliers to cut costs. Now, increasingly, the iconic American plane maker and its subcontractors have relied on temporary workers making as little as $9 an hour to develop and test the software for the plane. Oh dear. Often from countries lacking in a deep background in aerospace, and notably India. And in offices across from Seattle's Boeing field, recent college graduates employed by the Indian software developer HLC Technologies occupied several rows of desks, according to Mark Rabin, a former Boeing software engineer who worked in a flight test group that supported the MAX. Now, the coders from HCL were typically designed to specifications set by Boeing, but still it was controversial because it was far less efficient than the Boeing engineers just writing the code. And frequently, he recalled, it took many rounds going back and forth because these temporary Indian $9 an hour workers were not doing the code correctly. All sounds very familiar, does it not? Well, plane travel, they we kind of put our lives in their hands, and this is the way they think, taking qualified engineers out and putting jobbers in just to save costs, which has cost many people their lives. But plane travel and hospitals are somewhat eerily similar, are they not? When you think about it, in both places you are poked, prodded, probed and denuded and made to feel uncomfortable. One asks you to go into a terminal, and the other goes to great lengths to make your illness terminal. They both serve shit food. They both shepherd you from one waiting room to another, and neither allows you to sleep. And both request you put your life in their hands and trust them. Both over recent times have suggested that trust in those organisations is kind of foolhardy. Authorities in Iran have seized roughly 1,000 Bitcoin mining machines from two former factories this week, and the action was taken following a spike in electricity consumption. And demand for power rose by 7% in June, and cryptocurrency mining was thought to be the main cause, according to an energy ministry spokesman. One researcher said Bitcoin was gaining more and more attention in Iran as a potential means of storing wealth. If you count wealth as fresh air tokens, yeah. Two of these Bitcoin farms, as they're called, have been identified with a consumption of 1 megawatt. And mining cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin involves connecting computers, usually specialised mining machines, to the currency network via the internet, which is why they want the 5G. By providing computer power for validating transactions on that network, mining machine owners are rewarded with newly generated coins out of fresh air, making it a potentially lucrative exercise, especially when done on a large scale. Another thing that we've kind of covered rears its head again this week: paid actors. We'll have more on them later. But a man who claimed to be a substitute teacher and a survivor of a school shooting in Texas in 2018 never actually worked at the school, according to school officials this week. Oops. David Briscoe told news outlets that he had protected students from harm while working at Santa Fe High School, where 10 people were allegedly killed. And the Texas Tribune revealed the truth behind his false claims on Monday, but not before CNN, no surprise, the Wall Street Journal and others had published his lies. He said he had barricaded his classroom door with tables and desks, turned off the lights and telling his students to get down. It felt like hours before we got out of the school, but one of my students said it was 30 to 45 minutes, Mr. Briscoe told the news outlet. I had around 10 to 15 students and I'm grateful they were safe. Now, she said she spoke to him at the Texas Tribune on the phone for 31 minutes, during which he claimed to have quit teaching after the massacre and had become depressed. He said just knowing that there's blood on the walls meant he could not go back to the school. Now, the story roused suspicions, and the journalist contacted the local school board, who confirmed no one of his name had ever worked in the district. You see, it does happen. Paid actors happens far more than people realise. Nothing will happen to that guy, because he's working for one of the agencies that carries these stunts out. And it's all very David Hogg, that story, is it not? See how quickly he disappeared after many people started exposing him as a fraud and a paid actor. You know, at one point, pardon the pun, he hogged all the headlines and has now disappeared faster than a Welshman in a bar when told it's their round. You know, where is he? Where's David Hogg? Is he with the wailing girl from all the disaster scenes? Well, you make a joke out of it, but it's kind of not funny, really. Internet users, faced problems accessing many websites for about an hour because of a problem with Cloudflare. Sure, Randy mentioned that name last week. And the company allegedly provides internet security, which is a misnomer in and of itself, and other services meant to help online businesses operate smoothly. Now, many members of the public have reported seeing 502 errors displayed in their browsers when they tried to visit its clients. Now, Cloudflare said the problem had now been resolved, although some of its analytics tools, were still facing disruption. CoinDesk, it's Bitcoin again, they always prop up. A news site specialising in cryptocurrencies was also one of those affected. It had said it had received bad data from its providers as a consequence, which resulted in it misreporting prices. Now, some of the people who were stupid enough to buy into it were freaking out because the prices were showing Bitcoin was down to $26. It'd be better when it's zero. And the correspondent letter said, calm down everyone, Bitcoin is not $26, and it was tweeted before adding that it had now been resolved, the issue, but it has denied that they had been attacked, and the case was being blamed, or the incident was being blamed on, instead of bad software, a bad software update that had been rolled back. Oh my. The banks tried to roll back all the software. That didn't turn out too well. But they said this was not an attack, as some have speculated, really. And we are incredibly sorry that the incident occurred until the next time it happens. Now, internal teams are meeting, are performing a full post-mortem, like somebody's died, to understand how this occurred and how we prevent this from ever occurring again. It won't, but it will. And the Register reported that the firm also experienced issues last week, although that time it appears that the telecoms network, Verizon, was at fault. So they're all blaming each other. Oh. I'm saying nothing. Nearly 2,000 miners across 4 states may lose their jobs after yet another major coal company filed for bankruptcy this week, which is the 3rd since May and the 4th since last October. Now, the bankruptcy filing from Revelation Energy LLC and its affiliate Black Jewel LLC. Black is a program. The nation's 6th top coal producing company in 2017 comes amid President Donald Trump's ongoing efforts to boost the flagging industry. And the Trump administration rolled out a rule last month aiming to extend the lives of aging coal-fired plants across the nation. But environmentalists say the Affordable Clean Energy Rule would trigger premature deaths, including from lung disease. Like I said, you can get all your financial experts you like and quote this, that and the other. The reality, as posted in this show, is far different. There's companies going bankrupt at a record level, and shutdowns here, there and everywhere. Mergers kicking off. The mergers will start increasing. And until the man at the top, or the alleged top, takes hard actions, it will get worse. And talking about military and extra funding for military will not fix anything, in my opinion, and my opinion only. Final news piece, before we go into Q&A. A great American institution will also close down this year, called the Mad Magazine. I don't know what it is personally, but apparently it was a highly influential and satirical magazine that gave the world Alfred E. Neuman. Now, it will effectively cease publication sometime later this year after 67 years. My own comment on that is a spokesman for the magazine said the humour was no longer valid, viable, or as funny as today as American politics or CNN type media. When you have real life satire like Pelosi, Sanders, Biden, Pence and AOC, it's hard to compete, and so it bids us farewell.